Pull up a stool and pour yourself a pint as you're about to join three intrepid drinkers, Kevin, Justin, and Mark, as they embark on another Beertastic voyage.
We moved on to the sour board, which is probably gonna be my favorite part of the day.
Which one do you get for the one?
This
on
is
the
right for the picking.
Yeah.
Gun Hill collaboration.
Okay. This is really good.
That's outstanding.
And
I did not expect the level of sour, to be honest. It's awesome.
Well, and it is evolved, and we canned it there. So they came here, and we did accidental text on purpose, which was a lager style that we did with him. It was a hoppy lager essentially, and IPL, and it was awesome. So then we did this there, and they came and did three. We triple batched into a 10 for IPL. Okay. That was before we had the 10 barrel, so we were triple batching into 10s. Oof. Then we went there and we made 60 barrels. This was the biggest batch of beer we've ever made, which got distributed, and we went there on canning day to help them and had way too much fun. And then we didn't drink it again for a little bit, but coming off the canning line, beers are coming off the canning line sub-freezing. They're coming off at about 30 degrees.
Wow.
And a beer is so different at 30 degrees, especially sour. Sours get hidden by temperature.
Yeah.
So it came out maybe a little bit green, but it was cold and it was delicious. But it wasn't until 2 weeks later when we finally got the ripe for the picking hangover out of us that we came back and got to taste it here. And we were just blown away. And then you guys got it in its best form. It's been sitting out for about a half hour, and with the sours, once it warms a little bit, that's kind of why I want to do those last.
Up a lot.
The fruit comes out so much more, and then it just.
I was going to ask: is there actually fruit in here, or is it just the hop character?
Yeah, no, there is, and we can Google it because I know there's passion fruit in there for sure, and I don't want to speak out of pocket. I'll look it up on tap, but. Look at me having a couple beers and forgetting what you guys have the computers. Look up right for the picking.
There you go.
But yeah, no, there's
typing.
That was kind of our
apparently, there's an Urban Dictionary.
Yeah. All right, hold on.
Who knows what we're gonna
let's get
find
the Urban.
I should say the top result is Urban Dictionary. So
Yeah.
That was our kind of our.
Oh, a single person who is available to date.
That's not that.
That's not even that cool.
No.
That's PG.
That's not as entertaining as an Urban.
But I will say that ripe for the picking, Gun Hill is the third autocomplete.
Yeah.
All right.
I have the label on my pictures if we can't find the description, but no, that was kind of our contribution to the collaboration. Obviously, in a collab, you want to bring something, and they have an awesome. They've been doing kettle sours for a bit. We had the fruit consistency, so we contributed all the purees. So these purees are the exact same purees that we use in all of our beer.
Yeah.
What do we have in there?
Whoever you're using for your
passion
purees
fruit and apricot. Sorry.
Passion fruit apricot.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So the apricot's definitely in there. To me, I found it's almost like a tart Magic Hat number 9.
Okay.
That's what I got. Apricot's very forward with me.
To me, it almost comes off like a sour It's got like a sour candy kind of flavor too, almost like if you had sour version of Mike and Ike's is kind of what I'm getting. Like it's a very sweet fruit flavor to it from that passion fruit.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting a lot of, and I really enjoy it.
The beauty of beer, everyone tastes something different. It's kind of like colors. Everyone sees something different, and we also, we used to worry about what comments people had, and then we had to realize, hey, everyone's different, and you may taste something and hate it. And there's definitely that 1 star. I hate stouts.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But I mean, that's
cool.
That's just like your opinion, man.
That's just
exactly.
That's just something you learn to do with years down the road. I figure same in reviews. When we were in our infancy and had 10 reviews, and you get a bad one, it sucks. But now it's kind of like. When you have 100 reviews and they're all 5 stars, and then somebody leaves a 1-star review, who looks like the asshole?
Right. Yeah.
But no, everybody tastes different things, and this I love. To me, it's a tart Magic Hat number 9.
And I mean, you hit on the point. That's why our rating system's sort of a joke because it's relatively meaningless. We wanted to tell people how much we liked it in a way that wouldn't necessarily affect how much they like it. And I think one of the biggest compliments I ever got is the first time I came down to get beer. Actually, it was for a Super Bowl party a couple of years ago. I came down to get one of the first kettle sours you guys put out, and Chris was like, "Oh yeah, you're the podcast guy. I love that rating system." He's like, "It's perfect. It's so good."
Yeah, I mean, I tell people new to Untapped because Chris and I got on Untapped before it was cool. We don't use it anymore, but it's as a brewer, we love feedback, and as a brewery, I want feedback. But maybe I've spoken on Tapped about this, and it will never change. And I think I speak for a lot of breweries. Like, leave a comment. Tell me the beer sucks ass in the comments,
right?
But don't rate the beer,
right?
Because I don't think people realize that. Stores, like when we just started distributing to Manhattan and we said, what would you like?
Oh, yeah.
And then they give us a list of beers and we're like, oh, coincidentally, that's the top 5 beers we have on Untapped. Or we've walked into beer distributors.
Yeah, like they'll have it like on the shelf. They'll have like the Untapped ratings.
Yeah.
Or they'll frankly look it up like, oh, what do you got there? Oh, you have sore thumb? 1 second. And they like look it up on Untapped. Okay, I'll take that. So I think, I don't get any feedback from a 3-star. Right. I don't get any feedback from a 5-star. But I do get feedback from, hey, the carbonation was a little low. I'd like a little more carbonated next time. Or, hey, it was too vanilla forward. It tasted like sunscreen to me. Yeah. Those are so much more valuable to us. And I appreciate the 1 through 5-star rating, and I understand why it's in place. But if you really want to impact the brewery and impact Chris and I as brewery owners, we would always advocate, like, leave it behind. Like, if you look at my Untapped, which I still have, you'll see things like, future sober Brad, you loved this beer, drink it again.
There you go.
Or because so many beers, so that's the other thing, so many beers are coming in check-ins at 3 o'clock in the morning. I've already had 10 beers, or at festivals when you've had 65-ounce pours. So I was always a big comment guy. I was like, I would say, I don't like Belgians, but this is a good Belgian.
Right.
I'm not going to order this beer, but I appreciate the beer.
Right.
Or this is an amazing stout. I can't drink a full one in the summer.
Yeah.
As opposed to being like 2 stars, summer, don't like stouts.
Yeah,
like
right.
That's
Exactly.
You're not really helping us.
No, yeah. So it's like
not helping.
with the rate. Even
it's like, good job, buddy. Like, why did you even get it?
And even with the brewery, like we had a guy that last year he said, like, he had a comment. It was like, can't be there in the winter. It's too cold. And I literally called him and I was like, thank you. Like, and I put in a heater. Right. I know why you rated us low for that. I appreciate that. But you gave feedback that made me make the brewery better.
There you go.
So, like, we can take criticism. I'm a school teacher. You know how much criticism I get?
Yes, I do.
Like, all I do is get punched in the face all day for things that aren't my fault. But if people left ratings that made the brewery better, like if I made a beer and just people kept giving it 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, 1 star, I'd be like, okay, well, people don't like this beer, but how the hell do I fix that?
Yeah.
Where if people be like, too malty, too malty, too malty, too malty, I'll lower the grain bill, I'll up the ABV a little bit, and I'll make it better, and then boom, everyone's happy, and then we can raise the beer that way. So I don't know. That's my 2 cents on ratings.
No, it makes perfect sense.
Call to action: stop giving star ratings on Untapped, please, and just comment. I can take a shitty comment, but even a 4-star with no comment. When we go through now, I mean, I don't know how many check-ins we have now, but I only entertain the ones that have comments.
There you go.
If I entertain them at all, I only entertain the ones.
And that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because the ratings mean nothing to me.
Yeah, so far no one's paying attention to you. I'm just scrolling through the one for this ripe for the picking, and they're all very good ratings. But like you said, 4 stars, 5 stars. Like, okay, what did you dig about it? What can I keep doing to
That's
do for
really
other beers?
Yeah, what'd you like? What?
Yeah.
Why was it only 4 stars instead of 5?
And that's and you want to ask that, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's one thing about having a partnership. Chris is very level-headed. He's very. He has a much thicker skin, and there were times I'm guilty of the Untapped tirade. there's been times where he's had to sit me down and be like, dude, did they buy the beer? I'm like, yeah.
Then you won.
They bought the beer. And, sometimes you just got to let some shit slide, and, but it's hard to be like, hey, thanks for the comment. What was wrong with it without sounding like a dick on the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, thanks for the 2-star rating. What did you not like about it? Or when people are like, I hate pina coladas, 1 star. It's like, the name of the fucking beer is pina colada.
Right. So, speaking of how you name some of your beers, I noticed you kind of have that theme of a lot of them are science of selling, fill in the blank.
Yeah, so SOS.
Can you
people think
elaborate
it's
on that?
like danger creamsicle. SOS.
But that sounds more fun. Danger creamsicle. Beware.
But what happened was writing out the
Exactly.
science of selling. So we did the science of selling out.
Right.
It's kind of like a goof.
Is that a shout out to the Less Than Jake's album?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just then it just became the science of selling. Just became like kind of one of our things. And then the 4 Signs series was we were always drinking things or like going out and getting drunk on a Tuesday and being like, let's do it for science, man. I'm a science teacher, so
There you go.
it was always like, hey, we found this random bottle with no label. Should we drink it? And then somebody would scream out for science. I
can get behind that.
And then our first a real New England IPA that we really tried when we were finally sat down and put it on the schedule. Like, should we, at this time, when Other Half and even here locally, when Northport was producing what could be considered the greatest New England IPAs ever drank, like we were like, should we even try and enter this game? And then it was kind of like, let's do it for science, man. Let's see what happens. And then the beer just got called for science, and people loved it. So that series was born, but it's completely by accident, and it just happened organically.
That's great.
Yeah, I know.
That's how all the best names always come.
I know that's like very popular whenever you do a can release, so that they usually do not last.
We are extremely blessed. A lot of our cans do really, really well, and there's the argument of can releases and hype like that. There's something to be said for it, and you can argue both sides of the fence. And we've been very fortunate to have lines down the block and beer sell out in 10 minutes. But for us as a business and supporting their customers, that's why we went to online pre-sales for some of those big beers.
Right, yeah. And you've been doing that the last few, right?
Yeah, we know now the ones that are going to be gone quick. We've learned that over time, and so we pre-sold them. And those days, those Wednesdays, there's no line anymore. There's no people sitting around drinking with coolers, so that we paid one for the other. But when we had hype and when we had lines and stuff like that, it was worse for people. We got more, not angry, but more people that were upset. Like, dude, I can't make it there. I live in Oceanside. I can't make it there on a Wednesday at 5:00.
Right.
Yeah.
But when we gave people the opportunity to buy online for no extra cost, the price was exactly the same as it was in the tasting room.
Oh, that's great.
We ate that processing cost, because it was important to us, to allow the guy from Oceanside to have from Wednesday to Sunday to come pick up his beer. And if we had any extra, we sold them here in the tasting room.
Right.
And sometimes even our pre-sale beers don't sell out, but at least we gave people the option, and we got enough thank yous where we continue doing that.
It's a really fantastic idea, and it also alleviates any other issues you could have with people being upset about people online, or being online and not getting the beer, or whatever else it is.
One of those things that wasn't our idea. Like most things, you have to learn and you have to adapt with people that are sometimes smarter than you. And 6 Point, they created an app, and where you could order online, and it really came down to, like, does that idea suck? No, that idea is awesome. How do we do it? And Gage over at Beer Menus was super awesome with us, and was like, if you want to try it, we'll help you build it. If it works, it'll work for both of us. If it sucks and crashes and burns, we'll go down together. Shout out to Beer Menus. They took a shot with us, and they took a shot with the program, and we hope that more breweries, because I can't get beer sometimes, and I would love to support local breweries, but they're selling out too. And I'm fortunate enough where sometimes people bring me cans, but I would have loved to have had anniversary beer from Northport. I can't get it, know. But if I was able to buy it on pre-sale, I might have been able to get it.
Right.
Now, did you get any kind of flack from the the neighborhood at all from having lines of people or anything like that?
No, the location where we're at, there's really nobody around. The only
Yeah.
other business that's next to us is my landlord.
Okay.
And when he sees lines, he knows his rent's going to get paid.
Right.
And they happen.
Who is it? Is John your landlord?
No. It's
other side.
Fleischer Realty. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're, he's okay with it, and we're the only ones in this unit, and we're
Okay.
set off the main street. We have plenty of
Right.
parking, so we don't really disrupt that many people.
That's good.
And this was 1 or 2 times. Like it wasn't a every weekend kind of thing. We're not that big, and Chris and I saw lines as a problem, not as a benefit to the brewery. So when we saw lines, although it was exciting, and but we looked for a solution to lines, which is kind of how the online sale really began.
I think that's a great way to approach it there.
Yeah,
I just was wondering if you had gotten anything with
it's
that.
all about the customer. You guys ready for the sour?
Yeah, I think we got some cans of the last one. What's that? What
Gilgo.
can? The Gilgo.
It's a Goza style.
All right, we love Gozas.
Yeah, it's a Goza with Himalayan pink salt, pink guava, and passion fruit. I used some pink salt last night to try to get rid of my hangover.
There we go.
And yes,
and realign his cheek.
And yes, to answer the public's no, there's no dead bodies in the Gilgo, because that's what everybody. Oh, is there any dead bodies in this Gilgo?
Like it's the very first time someone's ever said it to you. Every time.
Oh, every time. I'm like, oh, that's super creative and funny. Thank you for coming.
I've never heard that before. Know what I mean?
The nose on this is incredible.
The beer, it's about 45 days old now. It's just under 50 days old. And it's not on tap anymore. It's pretty much just available here. You can find it in some local beer distributors, but it's one of the sours just get better, and some fruits just do awesome, and the guava is just one of those fruits, and it drinks awesome. It's like the best $10 6-pack I've ever bought.
It is very tasty.
Yeah. I tend to not like passion fruit in beers, and so far you've given me two beers with passion fruit in it that I really like.
That's all Chris,
I also
man. That's not me.
really don't like guava.
Really?
And both of those things together, I would be frightened to death. No, I wish I wouldn't, because then it goes. I would still drink it. I would still try it, but it's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you. They pair so well together.
I don't love all my beer, but the ones I love, and this is one of those ones that I'm not just saying everyone's good. I gave you the ones that I wanted to drink with you.
No,
there's a couple of beers we won't be having. There's a reason for that.
No, that's I love this fruit flavor to it, and it's definitely got that summertime vibe. Like
it does,
and I think it fit perfect for hanging out on the beach and drinking this one.
It was one of those when you wanted to have 5 or 6 beers, you could have 5 or 6 beers.
Yeah, I could put away this 6-pack real easy.
Yeah, well, it's up here.
There's still more in the can. So
more's gonna go in there.
I'll finish mine, and then we'll be ready for the last one over here too.
Yeah, I think the resurgence in Goza is probably one of the best things to happen to craft brewing and stuff, because it's such a great way to give someone something off the wall, that someone that doesn't like beer, like, okay, well, have this. This is doesn't get much farther from beer than this. Have this.
Thank you, Westbrook. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that Westbrook Goza is amazing.
And it's funny too. You tell people, once again, back to these buzzwords where you're trying to avoid. Like, you tell people salt in beer, they're like, or like when we used to tell people, they'd be like, what's a Goza? I'm like, oh, it's a salty, sour wit beer. I'm like, man, I just said 2 disgusting things that could possibly be in a liquid,
and then
in the same sentence to try and sell them. It's like, oh, this is a combination of urine and diarrhea, but I swear it's delicious. Like,
right.
So you say sour, which is a danger word for people, and then salt. People they just picture bay water,
right?
Which is what my wife used to say. Tastes like bay water, but then
maybe don't use that one either.
No, well, it was what it was.
But
what it was feedback. We were putting too much salt in it.
Yeah.
And if you can't get constructive criticism from your family, and then we learn, and the salt content is super, super important. And there's salt is like avocados, not ready. I'm ready, too late.
Yeah.
And salt is the same way. Like, not enough.
Yeah, you've got the right balance in here.
Yeah.
Like it's there enhancing the flavor, but it's not so much that like you have a lingering saltiness.
And Chris had to dump a lot of Gozas to find that perfect amount for him. Yeah, and then now trying to think about doing that on a 10-barrel scale, because it's not linear. You don't just take 3 barrels worth of salt and then multiply it by 3.5 and get your 10-barrel amount. So when we start doing the Gozas on the 10-barrel, it's going to be, we're just thinking about all the beers that we're going to have to dump, trying to figure out that salt content. But if you're gonna try and if you're a home brewer or even a brewery that wants to make gozes, definitely start less salt.
Yeah.
And go up.
Yeah.
Definitely start less salty. Better to drink a ghost and be like, this could use a little more salt than too salty, because then you're just
overloading.
You don't dump not salty enough, but you definitely dump too salty.
Yeah, the salt also, it acts just like it would in a savory
Unless you're
dish.
subbing
It makes the fruit just pop.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, when they talk about like with the salt in a beer, like, and they go, why would I even want salt? I go, how many times have you reached for pretzels or peanuts or something as soon as when you're drinking beers anyway? Like, your brain knows that salty goes with beer and that's a good flavor.
Yeah.
Like, don't be so weirded out by it.
Right.
It's a flavor enhancer. It's the same reason why you put salt in chocolate chip cookies. It makes it taste better.
Salt makes everything better.
It's true. Now, I know some people will even put, the thing about a goza, I'm just thinking of this, you can put anything in it. You put the salt in there, but you can put, a white pepper cucumber goza.
It's a very versatile style. Like, textbook definition, salty sour wit beer. It's wit yeast.
Right.
It's got a wit base. But then you can really, and once again back to Westbrook, they went with something. You guys can fish. I got my own can.
Okay.
They took a shot, and it wasn't until they really started making, I guess, like, the Berliner Weiss is very, very similar in style, and then when people started fruiting up the Berliner Weisses and things like that, you got into like, hey, why don't we, because Gilgo didn't start with fruit. Gilgo started as just a wit beer, salty sour wit beer, straight traditional Go style, and then we're like, this is like the third different fruit that we've tried in it, which makes people so angry on Untapped, because they're like, which Gilgo is this Gilgo?
Which one am I getting?
I'm like, it's just Gilgo. It's evolved, man. No two recipes are the same. Don't lie to yourself.
Here's my Untapped issue. I don't use Untapped mostly because I don't want my liver to know what I'm doing to it. But I
wanted that record.
I really can't stand when people put years, like, so when someone comes in as the first one to check it in and they put a year on it. Like, it's not a vintage, man. Like,
some beers are and some beers aren't.
Right, exactly. If it specifies it on the thing, like Black Friday from Long Island, there's years to that, always.
Or 120 IPA from Dogfish Head.
Right.
Different beers.
Yeah.
It's like unreal.
Yeah. But that happened with the pumpkin. People, like, if you look at some of our pumpkins, like pumpkin 2016, because we just called it pumpkin.
Right.
And it's like, all right, well, it's the same recipe from last year. Like Jabruzzo, we put vintages on Jabruzzo because we make it different every year. The barrels are different every year.
Right, and that makes sense.
But I agree with you. It's like, and people, I guarantee there's a bunch of Gilgos.
Oh, yeah.
There's definitely like Gilgo with passion fruit and Gilgo with this, but same beer.
What, the beeping?
No, the sound.
Do you have a Roomba?
I don't. Yeah, it's a Roomba. Yeah, the beeping is definitely probably the smoke alarms that are all going to die, and I got to get on a ladder and change the 9 volts.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Always fun.
So we're drinking your Common Roots collaboration right now. Can you tell us about that?
Without sounding like I have an extreme man crush on Christian from Common Roots,
but you do.
Oh gosh, I love that dude to death, and we got hooked up with Common Roots by literally me stalking out people with cool ships.
So what is Common? I don't know Common Roots. What is that? Is that
All
a brewery? Like, give me the lowdown, because I don't know what's going on.
And it's funny that you say it like that, because Common Roots is a brewery in Glens Falls. They're up in the Saratoga region, north of Albany.
Okay.
And I'd never heard of them, so of course they must have been a shitty brewery, because I'm from Long Island and I haven't heard of them, so they can't be good, right?
Right.
And when we were going into our Cool Ship program, I just started looking for hashtag Cool Ships on Instagram. Right. And then I saw New York, and all I got was like the picture of their cool ship. Right. Nothing else. And I look back, and he has a very, very nice Instagram, but didn't really tell too much about the brewery. So I tagged him like, hey, I love cool ships, blah, blah, blah. And I think I emailed him or DM'd him, and he got back to me. And I was like, oh, well, he has time to get back to me. His brewery definitely sucks. Because if you're a popular brewery owner, you don't have time to answer DMs. Long story short, he pretty much told me how to do a cool ship, the dimensions I needed for my cool ship. He mailed me some aged hops from my first cool ship because I was running out of time. And then after I did it, he goes, hey, why don't you guys come up to us and cool ship collab with us? And I went from 6 to midnight. I was so freaking excited. But this whole time thought he was a 3-barrel, small well, we got up there and I walked in. Well, I first pulled in, they had a silo.
Yeah.
A silo is the number one indication that a brewery is legit. But just was completely blown away. They are an amazing brewery. They've just expanded. They have brew pubs. They have a cool ship program. They have 60-barrel fermenters that they quadruple batch into before they just expanded.
Wow.
I want to say that they were brewing on a 15 when we went up there, maybe less. It was either 715, but they were doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
And up there in Glens Falls, there's not a lot going on. And this dude was like the mayor, and not because he made beer, but because he'd been around for so long, and he's such just a down-to-earth, cool guy. Took us to a bar with carpets on the floor and bush on draft.
Yeah.
And we just came up for the collab, bought us a hotel room, was like, listen, this is my town, I'm going to take care of you, and,
Wow, okay.
and you'll never leave. And
I think my wife has some family in that neighborhood. I guess.
you need to go. It's like,
We're going to go visit.
so we made this beer, we put it in a foeder, which I didn't even know those really existed. I had heard other have had them, but I didn't think they really existed. And we went in to this foeder, and it's still in there. And just as a joke, I was like, you got to come down to me. So this summer, he just showed up and stayed with me for a couple days.
Nice.
And we brewed this
That's
beer.
great.
We brewed this beer. I couldn't have been happier with it. It was actually our first kettle sour on the new 10-barrel system.
Oh, wow.
Because he's such a cool guy that he was like, if you guys fuck it up, who cares? We'll dump it, and we'll just have fun making it. We got the Sauv Blanc Grape Must, which happened on the spot. We're like, hey, it's kettle souring for a day. What should we do? Oh, let's go out east and get some Grape Must. Okay. So we
Get in the car, go out.
I drove out and got that. Threw in some Nelson hops, which is got some awesome dry characteristics as well.
Yeah.
Made this beer, and we featured it and released it up at they have a fermentation fest, which sounded like a great idea and was an awesome time. And then you realize you've been drinking sour beers all day, and it was an awesome experience, super intimate. Got to go up there again, go to the bar that doesn't have carpet. He claimed it didn't have carpet the first time. I swear, when we were up there in the winter, it had carpet. They removed the carpet from March.
Throw rugs. Maybe we should throw rugs.
Yeah, no, it was, there was carpet. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, this carpet thing. I was like, there was definitely freaking carpets, but it's super dry. It's almost like a wine consistency with the tartness of a beer.
Yeah.
And when you don't want a big fruited sour like Gilgo, there's a huge contrast here.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome. I can't speak highly enough about Common Roots, and I totally put my foot in my mouth when we went up there and realized what an amazing opportunity was. And another shout out to him. He got me hooked up with Tavour, which I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah.
No,
It's pretty much Amazon for beer right now.
Oh, okay.
And Chris and I just got licensed with Tavour, so our cans are going to be going out
Oh,
to
that's
Washington
great.
State and featured on Tavour. So some
That's
people out of
amazing.
state are going to be able to get our beer
That's
as well.
nice.
And that's all Christian hooked that up as well, set us up with
That's
those
great.
guys.
No, this is really delicious, and as much as I really enjoyed Gilgo with that nice sweet flavor, this is a great change of pace back to it. Like you said, it's super dry, and it has that kind of wine-like quality, and this is just as drinkable too. It doesn't, not a sharp sour. It's just a little bit of that tartness that really makes you want to go back for that next sip, and delicious, bro.
Yeah,
Delicious.
the grape must gives it kind of a funky character. You know what I mean? Like it's not exactly a Brett character, but it has more complexity to it than a lot of other kettle sours I've had. When I first drank it, I didn't realize that it was a kettle sour. Not that kettle sours are always one note, but that's kind of the thing you get lactic and the fruit and it pops. But this
Right.
has a real depth and complexity.
Yeah, and the kettle sours, I mean, some people knock kettle sours as opposed to wild ale, and luckily we're doing both now. But just because I'm cool shipping doesn't mean I don't appreciate kettle sours. I
Right.
mean, you can do so much with the kettle sour process, and you can fuck that up just as bad. And it's kind of like fermentation. I can vary my pH Chris now knows the difference between a beer at 3.4 and a beer at 3.1, and
Wow.
I mean, when we have these wild ales, we don't have that versatility because I can test the pH during the process, but there's so many other things happening while that pH is dropping in barrels as opposed to when it's dropping in a controlled environment in the kettle. And it's just one of those, there's a science behind it. And once people think that Chris just like tripped and fell and figured out how to do it. Like the hours that he put in, this dude reads more than I could ever imagine. I mean, passing the Cicerone test is one thing, but like acing it is another thing. And he's just a research guy, and he didn't just say, "Oh, I'm going to pour lacto in a kettle and figure it out," and
Right.
it was hours and months of, I'm not ready to make it yet. I'm not ready to make it yet. I'm not ready to make it yet. All right, I'm going to make it. Oh shit, I fucked it up. I'm going to make it again. I'm going to make it again. And also not accepting failure. And that's how he got to this. It was stressful for us to go into a 10-barrel kettle sour. 3-barrel and 10-barrel, completely different.
Yeah.
Especially the lacto pitch. Like, we were like, oh my God. Like, we used to just like dribble some lacto in there. And then we had like a 5-gallon carboy of lacto that we had made in-house as a house strand. Super stressful. And I got to give it to Chris again. He knocked it out of the park with this one.
Yeah, all the beers have been killer, and the breadth and differences between all of them, and the only thing that's similar is they're exactly what they're supposed to be. Like, you put it on the board, you get tasted everything from the creamsicle to the pumpkin stout, having both stout and pumpkin in it. It's all been tremendous.
I think you hit it right there. I mean, for me, the ones that have really stood out, like these last two, have been really amazing, and that ripe for the picking is just Oh, that's
to Gun Hill. A little fun fact: Dave Lopez, who owns Gun Hill, was on Entourage. It's hilarious. He's a movie star. He's gonna yell at me. Hopefully, he doesn't hear this, but great dude. I mean, I got to do a collaboration with a guy that was on the cover of Beer Advocate magazine. So
there you go.
I mean, the humbling aspect of this industry, and the people that have helped me get here, I couldn't thank enough. I mean, I remember standing over Steve Pominski's shoulder, being like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? I want to open a brewery. What are you doing?" And him never swatting me away.
Yeah.
And just being like, answering questions he could, but and the amount of times I call Lori from Mustache, like, what do I do? What do I do? Or like the time I need to calm down, I call Larry from Spider Bite and be like, can you give me some of your cool, calm demeanor? Or then going out to Mike and Port Jeff when I really need to rage and party, and he's just ready to go always. Like the industry as a whole, especially here on Long Island, I can say a little something awesome about every single brewery. And we're cliche, and we definitely try and portray that we're all one family and we're doing this together, and it's not cliche. I mean,
oh no, we've definitely witnessed that firsthand.
Yeah, I can't say, like, you don't think I called up Kevin Schiller and asked him how to make a New England IPA and asked for help? Like, I definitely did. And then Greg Maish at Great South Bay, who is a technical genius, he pretty much designed my whole glycol setup because there's no manuals for that shit.
Right.
Every single one of us has something to give. And some people, and that's why Long Island's taking off as a craft scene.
It's been great
because it's not one of us. We all have our own niche, and we all have our own something to contribute.
It's been really nice for us to see the same thing. I mean, I can tell you that you guys were definitely the first ones that we walked into, and you were like, "Oh yeah, we know that podcast." Like Chris was like, "Yeah, I listened," and I'm like, "Really? What? Why?" So we've been very lucky to do a bunch of these interviews, and it's really nice to have done this one with you finally, because you were the first ones to make me at least realize, holy crap, like
it's a long
we
time
might actually be
coming.
doing it right.
We had to wait till I had some dark beers on the board for you.
I appreciate it, and I think I might get something of that brown to take home with me too.
Please do, man. I mean, and I know that off the record, I have some of your stuff to try too. But it's this is good stuff. Chris would love to be here. It's actually his daughter's 4th birthday today.
Happy
so,
birthday to Chris's daughter.
He didn't blow me off. He didn't blow you off.
No.
He is a super busy guy, and he definitely wanted me to let you guys know. Happy birthday, Maddie. But yeah, no, this is a team effort. If you've been to the brewery, you probably know my staff more than you know me.
Your staff is great.
So yeah, Brian, Liz, Gina, Abby, Jesse, Jimmy, and Ryan's here today. those dudes, they bail me out. If it wasn't for them, I'd never know I was out of toilet paper, or like Liz called me and was like, dude, we're down to 22 glasses. I'm like, shit. So, I mean, so many balls up in the air, and Chris and I, we could not do this alone. So I want to give credit to them, more credits too.
Well, definitely noted. You guys keep a great house running here.
Absolutely.
I think the last thing we have to do is just get him the 6-pack of questions, right?
Oh shit, yeah.
Mark forgot about this.
What do we got?
So all our guests, we always try to hit with a 6-pack of quick answer questions.
Oh gosh.
That we just
Is this where Chris said don't say something stupid?
Possibly. I don't know what kind of primer he gave you beforehand, but it's basic stuff.
You have to do this in the beginning before I have a couple of drinks.
No, man,
no shot.
That takes away all the fun of it.
It's nothing technical. So
You know, and it's all like, we want you to like tell us your worst enemies, everything that you hate about your neighbor, all this stuff that undoes all the wonderful things you just said. That's really what the whole point of this is.
All right,
it's really simple.
We're
It's
ready.
really simple.
I won't even cheat and look at the questions beforehand.
you can read it if you want. I mean, so number one is, what's your favorite beer or old standby that you always have in the fridge?
There is always a 12-pack of Miller High Life bottles in my refrigerator, the champagne of beers.
Yes, it is also the Red Solo Cup Special at Fatwood Kitchen. We were there last night.
I know.
Like, that's literally what it's called. It's the Red Solo Cup Special.
And then he asked us what it was.
It's $4, and it comes in a Red Solo Cup.
But they told us they won't take our beer because they don't support local beer. They want to keep their southern theme. But I always have that. But you can't find that at parties. When I go to parties, I drink Coors Light.
There you go.
All right.
And if more traditional, all day Founders all day IPA.
Okay.
If I'm going to drink that, I can drink 100 of those. But when I'm not
Would you
around,
say you could drink it all day?
I could drink it all day. Dale's Pale Ale, I used to be able to drink that a lot, but they started overcarbonating their beers, and after opening 10 6-packs of Dale's Pale Ale, and it just blowing up all over me, I stopped buying their beer. So Miller High Life, definitely Miller High Life all day.
All right, number two. What brewery is your favorite that isn't your own?
Avery, Boulder, Colorado. My daughter is literally named after that brewery.
Wow.
And that business model, if I'm going to go a little bit more local, I love Barrier, and I'm not just shouting them out. I love Evan's premise. I loved what they stood for. I loved everything, his tasting room, his small pours, rotating menu. So when I was a home brewer and the days where Chris and I wanted to open a brewery, we definitely try and emulate Barrier.
Okay.
I haven't been out there because it's wicked far and it's stupid hard to get to.
Right.
But off a big beer, definitely Avery. And small beer, I got to go Barrier. Sorry, everybody else local. I can't speak for Chris, but Barrier for me. And they won't collab with me.
All right, number three. What's your favorite brewing ingredient?
It used to be lactose, then I went dairy-free, but we are big fans of fruit, obviously, and my favorite fruit is raspberries.
Okay.
I think you could put raspberry beer in almost any beer. So my favorite brewing ingredient right now, fruit-wise, is definitely raspberries. If I'm going to go off fruit, then coffee. I'm a big coffee stout guy.
Gotcha. All right, number four. What's your least favorite style of
Belgians.
beer?
You cannot find a Belgian that I can drink a full pint of and enjoy every sip. It's one of those things. Like my uncles drink Zambuca at Christmas. I just can't do it.
God,
So
that's a big thing in my wife's family too. Like, and then like my father-in-law and my wife's uncle got blitzed on Zambuca at my wedding.
yeah, that's an easy
Sure
one.
did.
It's an easy one for me. I cannot.
cakes.
I just can't drink Belgians. I just can't do it.
And yeah, I can't. I don't necessarily pick that up strongly in a lot of Belgian beers, but like in the liquor, it's just like punch you in the face and like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's
like
just
I did it
horrible.
one time. So it was like, hey, we're doing shots. I'm like, all right, never again.
Yeah, that was one of those high school mistakes for me. Like,
There's a
raid my buddy's dad's
Yeah.
liquor cabinet and drink way too much Sambuca. And we were like, yeah, this is disgusting.
There's a reason why that was left behind.
Yeah, right. All right, number five. Where do you want to go on beercation?
Asheville. It's like there's no local airport, or I would have gone there. Boulder was right behind there, and then I went to Boulder into the Ironman there and got to go to all of the freaking awesome things. But I've never been to Asheville. I've been to Austin. There's some really good. I've gone on some beer vacations, but never been to Asheville, and it's huge, and I definitely want to go there. I don't know if I will, but I definitely want to go there.
And then lastly, we have what is your favorite name for beer that you've seen?
Our beer or any beer?
Just any, like, you know, like a super like punny name or just appropriate for the style.
Yikes.
This is always the hardest one.
Yeah.
No, it really is, but I think if I can say not specific beer name, but the brewery in California, I think it's awesome. Not a lot of people know that it's spelled R-U-E because of Patrick Rue.
Yeah,
he owns
right,
the brewery.
it's
So I always thought that was super clever how Patrick Rue made his brand the brewery, and everyone's like, that's super arrogant. But when it comes down to
there's
it,
also a lot of people that don't realize, like, the brewery. Okay, what?
what about
I
it?
really did not know that was his name.
Yeah,
I'm one of those guys sitting there going, I had no idea
It's-
about that. But that's awesome.
But
and I love
you've been
it.
staring at the bottles being like, why is it spelled that way?
Honestly, I just thought it was like some crazy Euro.
And he's a
spelling
master
for it or something
Cicerone,
like
so
that.
you can't screw with him. But yes, his name is Patrick
He's-
Rue.
he's one of the six.
R-U-E.
Yeah.
And he's one of the six. And the brewery is a play on words on his own name.
No, I've drank a ton of the beers, and I know the thing, and I always just assumed it was like a European spelling for it or something like that or something else. Didn't know it was
understandable.
Well, I
didn't know it was his name.
Well, I was
and
able to
like, that's
teach you
awesome.
something
Thank you.
today.
Thank you for
but no, I think
educating me.
I do like a lot of like fun names, and when we did like a feel at my plums.
Yeah, that was a good name. Or like, you know,
Even the accidental text on purpose.
You're
If
talking
you've
about-
never seen that episode, like, oh gosh, it was like Larry David hilarious. But when he talked about the accidental text on purpose, which was, you know, you want to go do something with your buddy, you know, and you pretend like you're texting him back. I would love to be there, but I have to spend time with my wife. I told her, but you sent it to your wife. Accidental text on purpose, because your wife has to write back and say, "Oh, that was so nice that you that you cared about me. Go have fun with him." So that's, but you know, just simple, clear to the point, like 60-minute IPA, done, or Dale's Pale Ale. You know, I can't get away from.
Well, you're
it.
talking about Barrier before, and like, you know, we had their Rausch beer, which is named Frau Blücher.
Yeah, exactly. Or Gozilla.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they made Gozilla call to action Barrier. I've been asking them to make Gozilla again, and they just can't put it on their schedule. I guess they're a little busy for that. But
Do you know what I think you should do? You should probably go on Untapped and give them a bunch of 1 stars and just see if that
That'll really get there.
Bring Godzilla back.
works. 1 star, not Godzilla. 1 star, not Godzilla.
This beer is not Gozilla.
The people want Godzilla.
So I think the only thing left that we got to ask you is, you know, is there anything else that you want to shout out, or you want to just give us your
mean, you
info
guys-
where everybody can find you, just so if they haven't been here yet, which everyone should have.
Yeah, right on. My email, email's DUBCo IPA. Not DUBCo IPA. That's one of our beers. I've had a couple of drinks. DUBCo 2014 at Gmail. Our website is super long, so don't go there. Destination unknown beer company.com.
As long as there's no hyphens in there,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Instagram, DUBCo_. There's an underscore because somebody had DUBCo with 0 followers, 0 likes. And, to 0 followers, we don't follow anybody, and I get a lot of shit for that. There is a reason. It has nothing to do with arrogance. Chris and I are very big live your life, not theirs. And we're very focused on what we
Fair.
do, and we understand the importance of Instagram and letting people know that that's a social platform. But we want to continue to do things through our customer base and through what we believed in. And if we felt that if we got caught up in what other people were doing, that would lower who we are as people. And we definitely follow and look at a lot of people, but as far as our Instagram and things like that, that's why we don't follow anybody. It's mostly because we want to stay true to our roots and just make sure that we don't get caught up in trying to be other people. We always just want to be DUBCo. We always just want to be Brad and Chris, and that's why we don't follow anybody. But that's it. You let me shout out everybody. Long Island has really, really been awesome to us. We've had our fights and things like that with people, but who doesn't? We're humans. But I could not be here Like, I wasn't joking when I said I've stood over Steve Pominski's shoulder and
Right.
like watch him clean a bright tank before I ever even filed a license. And Chris and I really try and pay it forward. There's a couple of breweries that are going to be opening. I know Squarehead just opened, so I'll shout them
Yeah,
out.
just
Right.
yesterday.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Sekatog Brewing Company is going to be coming to West
Yeah, we were
Islip.
talking about them in the car on the way
Yeah.
here.
So, those are the things that are really, really exciting for me because we're able to help those guys out. Kenny over there at Sekatog. Please go see his space. It's going to be. I don't know. I don't know exactly when he's going to get to open. It's a long process, but the guys at Hopwinds, we're able to pay that forward now, and we never forget. That we got to places by asking questions. So, I hope Hopwinds gets to open. I hope all these guys. The rising tide raises all ships. There's no competition in our industry. We are all equal, level playing field, whether we make 1 million barrels a year or whether we make 1,000 barrels a year, because the more people drinking craft beer and enjoying our product, the better.
Yeah, plus, like, it's nice when you have, so, like, you guys here in Bayshore, you're not that far from Great South Bay. You got the Brewers Collective. Hopwinds is going to be right next door to them. And just having the collection in a geographic area, it just, like, makes it a day, like an afternoon activity for people.
It does. And we all have something really, really different to offer. I mean, besides the beer, the customer experience, I mean, you've been to Great South Bay. They have a huge facility, and it's awesome. And they have, TVs and indoor games and stuff like that. And then you go to the Skeleton Army over there at the Brewers Collective, and they have an awesome space and video games. They're always doing live music and featuring food trucks. You come to us, and you get a bunch of wood on the wall, and you can drink a lot of sours. And we all have something to offer. And we all have something for everybody. And if you're in a group of 10 friends going out, you can come to every brewery and satisfy the needs of all 10 people.
Definitely.
And, like, it's not like, hey, do you want to go to the Brewers Collective or DUBCo today? It's like, hey, how can we do both?
It's like, all right, we're starting here, and then we're going to move on.
I want to go to the
there.
Brewers Collective. We have to go there and play Pac-Man and play darts for a little bit. But we have to go to DUBCo because I heard they have a new fruit sour. So there's always, like, that atmosphere as well. So that's good.
You brought up darts, so are you going to beat Spider Rat again?
Oh God, yeah, no. I think they brought in ringers, those assholes, and we were homegrown regulars that were like, I'll drink beer and play darts. We're like, these guys came up and they were doing they had their own PT guy that was there stretching shoulders and things like that.
They were doing staff. What are you doing? You can't have a staff.
We were drinking beers, eating pizza. They were doing acupuncture, getting ready for darts. But no, we're definitely
Cupping
doing.
works great
The Winter Dart League is back. Port Jeff is in. Brewers Collective's in. A bunch of other people.
I think LIBME might field the team.
We are always willing to come up with reasons to tell our wives why we need to hang out and drink beer.
It's very dedicated.
There you go. Well, I think that's just about going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for having us here. It's been a great morning drinking beers, and can't wait to. We're gonna have to do it again now and get your
we'll
get
do
your
this
other
again
half in
at
here.
some point. In the
Yes.
future.
Yeah, no, we'll get Chris in. Like I said, we'll pick a day. That's partly my fault. I scheduled with you guys, not
No
realizing
worries.
it was Maddie's birthday. And like I said, Chris, I speak for Chris.
Look, we're just
and
happy that we finally got to sit down here because
Exactly.
every other time we come in, you're like, "What are we doing this?"
Yeah, no, I think I speak for both of us, and also all the people that work for me. Awesome to talk to you guys, and it's been a good time for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very
Cheers to that.
much.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
If you enjoyed Beertastic Voyage, please be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and don't forget to review and rate us. The guys can be found online at www.beertasticvoyage.com, on Facebook at www.facebook.com/beertasticvoyage, and Twitter and Instagram at Beertastic Show, or send them a good old-fashioned email at beertasticvoyage@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and cheers for local beers.